Today we're at Tynemouth Priory and Castle, and the headland at Tynemouth is empty and its buildings are ruined, but 500 years ago this area was home to a community of monks. The ruined church, which is over there, which we'll have a look in a second, was a rich part of the Benedictine monastery, which was founded in the late 11th century. Even after the monastery was closed by order of Henry VIII in 1539, the site continued to be occupied. Soldiers lived here until as recently as 1960. For over 400 years, Tynemouth was a major coastal fort defending the mouth of the Tyne. I'll just give you a quick squiz and we'll look at things a little bit closer. So that's what's the remains of the castle, which will go up there in a mo. We've got a red brick building there, which I assume the army used, and then we're back to the monastery. Okay, so let's go for a little stroll and see what we can find. The sandstone is well worn. It's incredible. The patterns and designs on each of the blocks. It's beautiful. From the late 18th century, this large area of emptiness was a hub of a busy military fort. A large barrack block stood just ahead of me, and to its right was a governor's house, and further to the right was a tall lighthouse with 2 cottages for the keeper. When the Ministry of Defence left here in 1960, most of these buildings were demolished. These buildings represented the last in a series of stretching over 2,000 years. Archaeological excavations discovered evidence of ancient round wooden houses in this area, part of an Iron Age village which stood here long before the monastery was built. Shrine area. In 1965, the priest at Tynemouth found some human bones under the church. These were believed to be the remains of a Saxon saint, Saint Oswine. Local people began to make pilgrimages to his tomb, believing that the saint would answer their prayers. They made donations to the Priory, which were used to rebuild the area in front of you on a much grander scale, which is in front of me, which is that bit there. Beyond the high altar was a shrine where St Oswine's remains were housed in a magnificently decorated casket. But we'll just spin round and look at the rest of these ruins here and see what I mean about the sandstone being all weather beaten. Look how gnarly these are. Absolutely beautiful. And the mortar in between, you can see, is it's like pebbles. So looks like it's just been brought up off the beach. Absolutely incredible. Quite imposing. Huge. Let's go see what's hiding in here. Ooh. Oh, there's a pretty stained glass window. Nice tile floor. A lot of these graves here are from the 1817-ish and around that sort of time. What fascinates me are these tabletop gravestones. And I've got one here which I'm just going to hold the camera over the top, so hopefully we can read what's said on there. Well, this person died in 1817 at age 65, and I think this must be another family member. Can't tell how old that one was, but died in 1817. This one as well, 1793, and this one 1819, age 68. Absolutely fascinating how they just lay them down. Loads of gravestones, and most of them you can't read them. They're no longer able to pick out any words in there at all. I guess they found out the hard way that you can't use sandstone as headstones. It's like this one, in memory of Charles Pearson, died June 18th, 1855, age 71. And then the wife died 1855, and you can't see any further. So we're going to go down and take a wee stroll now to the battery that was used during World War II, I believe. We'll go and read the board and see what it says, and find out a bit of more modern history. This site, as you say, has been used by the army, as well as the Priory and the castle, so pretty amazing. So let's go see what we can find over here. These headstones over there, they're huge. Some of them are as tall as I am. Of course, they're all leaning now. What's this one say? Can't really read that either. Oh, 1840. Let's see what else we can find, shall we? So I'll be back in a minute. So this is part of the defences of the Tyne, I believe. But we're going to take a look. There's a big old gun there. Goodness. It's a bit big. And for that to be sitting in front of all this, incredible. Absolutely incredible. Let's have a little look, see what the history says on it, and then we'll go up and have a look a bit closer. Okay. Coastal batteries. In the late 19th century, fearful of a future war, Britain built up a coastal defence. These gun positions were built to protect the Tyne's valuable shipyards from naval attack. By the outbreak of the First World War, the command post here at Tynemouth controlled batteries of coastal guns stretching from Sunderland to the south of Blythe, to Blythe in the north. Tynemouth was garrisoned by several hundred soldiers during both World Wars. It never experienced a direct naval attack, so the big guns were rarely fired, but it suffered heavy air raids in the Second World War. In the 1950s, the castle's guns were decommissioned and removed. Okay, so let's go and have a little look, shall we? You'll see this big gun up here. So here's the big beastie gun, and there is where it will swivel. Whew. And its long barrel pointing out to sea. I'm assuming on these windows, these are blast doors. There's solid metal. Walkway down there. See the whole site from here then. I believe this modern building over here is now the Coast Guard station. So this site is well used for various things. going to climb up the stairs, but that's another hole in the ground for another gun. Woo. Fascinating. And I believe we've got more gun over there. Just there. So let's go down and see what's at the bottom here. Seeing there's an open door. Have a little look. One thing for sure, it's a bit wet down here. Just going slow down the stairs. Let's go see. Okay, this used to be a magazine store where they stored a lot of weapons, and the pallets there to keep the munitions dry, because they were no good if they were wet. Had more this side as well. Sorry about the echo, but can't do a lot about that. And then I'm just going to walk backwards because I'm walking into the room where the guys used to get changed. Coat pegs where they used to hang their clothes, benches. So this is a clean area, so the guys didn't get anything contaminated. Oh, and these doors are copper, apparently. Say some more gun placement areas down here. Back up top now, just walking over to another building, see what else we can find out about this amazing place. Sorry about any wind noise, but it is a little bit windy today. (1809), 1855, just reading some of the dates on the graves that I can actually read. 1825. 1814. Oh wow. I say they're pretty amazing. The Priory Church. In the late 11th century, a great Norman baron, Robert Mowbray, Earl of Northumberland, founded a stone church and monastery here, and gave the monks a vast area of land. There were a few stone buildings in the area then, and the most of the local inhabitants would never have seen anything like it before. After the monastery was closed in 1539, the church nave was used as a local parish church. The grand east end of the church was allowed to fall into ruin, and the parish church remained here until the mid-17th century, which is why the town cemetery was laid out on the headland to my right, which is over here. This grand building, once upon a time, would have looked like this. Amazing. And now it's just blur. Pile of rubble, but beautiful nevertheless. There you go, guys, for those of you who like to watch bolts. Not quite sure what that is. Looks a little bit like a, maybe, I don't know, Pete and I discussed it, maybe a dredger, not sure, but yeah, that's just going up the River Tyne. Tynemouth's gatehouse is an imposing piece of architecture, and it looks more like part of a castle than an entrance to a monastery. Tynemouth Priory needed to be defended because it is so close to the Scottish border, and the Scots regularly invaded Northumberland. The gatehouse was built following a Scots invasion in 1388. The upper stories were designed as a fine residence for someone of high status, probably the steward who looked after the Priory estate. On the lower floor there was an entertaining and living space and a kitchen with a large fireplace. The bedroom was on the floor above. So we'll have a little look-see what it looked like on the picture.